Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and the project that I'm working on now is making the wood underliner that you're gonna see when you go to the Mexican restaurant and you order fajitas, and that cast iron griddle comes out so hot that it's impossible to touch that. But there's always a piece of wood the griddle sits on. So what we're making actually is 50 of those underliners. Just want to see this before we do anything. Let's prepare a couple of dowel rods, and I've got that hole for that just ever so marginally larger than what I calipered the dowel rod to. So let's cut a couple of dowel rods and let's see what happens. I'll make these 1.5 inches long. Just see what happens with that. Okay, a couple of simple dowel rods, and these are 5/16. So let's cut this tool path now. Let's see what happens. Real nice. Yeah. We're going to insert the dowel rods. Let's do that right now. Yeah. All the way down. Let's remove this clamp. Let's remove this clamp. Let's see if we can detect any lateral movement happening here at all. So as I go ahead and got my dowel here, try to move it, it doesn't move at all. It's just not, there's no lateral movement. So the sheet is down, and this line from this dowel to that dowel is right down 24 inch, right in the exact center. And then my vector here and my vector here are absolutely balanced equally off of this center line. So the fact that my board is some weird size it should be irrelevant. It should be irrelevant. So at this moment, let's switch to the screen view, and let's take a look at what we're going to cut first. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so we interrupt this broadcast. I just got an email from tech support, and let's go through it one by one. The email starts with thanks. It looks like the tools are storing the appropriate 0 here, tool changes, at least for the 2 that you showed using the paper test. And if you look at the ATC local tool variables file, tools 1 through 9 all have what appear to be a valid height in terms of a Z0 to the ATC. The second video that I had sent to tech support, that video is where I sent tech support a simple VCAR file with 2 vectors, vector 1 use tool 1, vector 2 use tool 9, whatever it was. And it gave us a problem there. And during the second video, it still seems to be doing the same thing. It is. Where it is actually topping out when it goes to pick up the next bit. Yes. So they're saying is, in the second video you sent us, it's doing the same thing as the first problem. And it is. I did that as proof that it wasn't my VCAR file. If you notice the input 5 is lit up once it has the second tool, which means that the Z-axis proximity switch is triggered. Yes, it's lifting up. It's hitting that proximity switch. My guess is that it is still moving upwards high enough to trigger the switch and probably going up high enough to hit the stop at the end of the travel on the Z at the same time. It is. I'm not convinced that it is anything that you did incorrectly, to be honest. Okay. It's Saturday, and the next line goes on to say that ShopBot's tech support is working on this on a Saturday. They go on to say, one thing that I'm seeing, which may be contributing to this phenomenon, is that you have a Z offset in your ATC variables. I'm still looking into where that would be coming from, but it would add an extra 1.3 inch to the upper motion when it does these tool changes. This might be the key. This might take it up slightly too high enough that it reaches the end of travel and faults in the way that we are seeing. The line that I'm seeing this in is in your ATC underscore tool variables that you sent over. Let's switch and see if we can find that and take a look at it. Okay, so this is the email, and that's the file that they're looking for. So let's go to File Explorer. I know it's on the C drive, under SB Parts, under Custom, under ATC Local Data, ATC Tool Variables. We're going to open that up. I think it opens up in like an editor. Yeah, right there. Right there. And Z offset, negative 1.3. All right, so let's close that file. Now we know where it's coming from. As a way to check this, we can try 2 different things. To start, I would like to run a C3 routine with any bit in the spindle. That's awful because I'm starting to run this job, but that's okay. Once it finishes, issue an MZ0 command to move the tip of the bit down to the table surface. I've done this already. I think the issue is when I've C3 previously, there's been no tool in there. So let's go and pick up a tool. Let's do a C1 and just pick up tool 5. All right, tool 5's coming. Okay, we've picked up 5. Run a C3 with any bit in the spindle. Let's just run a C3. Okay, we're running that C3. All right, so the next thing that the email says is to, once it finishes, issue an MZ0 command to move the tip of the bit down to the table surface. Okay, let me just bring the Z down safely. Moving down to 0 now. Let's check it out. Everything's clear. We're not going to hit anything. Yeah, it's right there, baby. It's right there. Absolutely right there. Let's see what they say is next for this. Once we are at 0, 0, 0, which we are, double check this in the red position window as well as the actual bit location in table space. So, yeah, we are definitely at 0, 0, 0. Now, table space. I'm not familiar with table space. What is table space? Go to Utilities, 0, all current locations to table-based coordinates. Go to Utilities, 0, 0. Let's go back and read that, where we need to be. 2, make sure that the actual bit location in table space, go to Utilities, 0, all current locations in table-based coordinates. Utilities, 0, this action will 0 all axes and locations, including the table-based locations. You should typically only use this command if not using file checking, or if you were using the software only for preview. Do you want to continue? Yeah, let's continue. All right. So we're at 0, 0, 0. We're physically at 0, 0, 0. What else do they say here? I would also like to go into ATC tool variables located. Yeah, that's where we were. And manually change the Z offset from 6 to be set to 0. Then save the file and exit. Let's do File. Part file load. No, it's not what we want. Let's just go back to where we pulled it up earlier. C, SB parts, custom, local tool data, tool variables. Oh, it's now at 0. When I zeroed it, it changed that offset to 0. Interesting. Okay, let's close that. Let's close that. Then run a C3 routine and go back and see if it rewrites a Z offset into it. Is there still a Z offset after doing this? Okay, let's run a C3. Okay, C3 is done. Let's look at that file and see if it set an offset there. SB parts, custom, ATC local data, tool variables. Hot dog, it's at 0. It's still at 0. Okay, so I'm going to respond to this email giving them the steps of what we've done, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here's what was going on. You mentioned that you see the Z offset in the ATC variables. I confirmed it was at negative 1.34 and change. So I verified it was in the tool variables. I ran a C3 with tool 5, just because that's what was in there. Once it finished, I went to 0, 0, 0. Once it finishes, issue an MZ0 command. I did that. Meaning, we C3'd, so we were at 0 and 0, then I went to 0. Once at 000, double check this in the red position window. Yes, I did that. Check. That was good. As well as the actual bit location in table space. Go to Utilities, 0 all current locations in table-based coordinates. I did that. It gave me a pop-up window that says, hey, blah, 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 this is what you're doing. I proceeded. You then said that you would like for me to go to the ATC tool variables file and manually change the Z offset on line 6 to 0. It was at 0 when I got there. It was at negative 1.34. We ran the utility 0 all current locations and table-based coordinates. Did that, it was at 0. There was no reason to file and save. I ran a C3. I went back to the tool variables file, and it did not rewrite the Z. It's still at 0. So we're at 0 on the Z offset in ATC tool variables. Here's the bottom line. Should I rerun my file and see if I get an error on the tool change? So I'm convinced that we're going to have the Z offset is going to change after I C2 to the material surface, because when I go to Utilities and I 0 all current locations and table-based coordinates, when I'm at 0, 0, 0, meaning 0 on the Z to the machine bed, after I C2 to the material surface, it's going to change that, is my theory. I've asked that question, but in the interim, ShopBot came back and said, excellent, thanks for the videos, helpful. I think that we should run a couple of tool changes first. Okay, I'm going to reset the machine back to where it was. Actually, no, let's rerun what he asked me to rerun. So I'm going to do all of this again and then try some tool changes. So I will be back and I will report back. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so the next thing that they asked us to run was a couple of tool changes. So we put back to where we were. We did a C3 with any tool, We did an MZ0. We reset all 0 locations and table-based coordinates. We confirmed that at Z offset was 0. I ran a C3 again, and the Z offset was still at 0. That's no problem. They said, excellent. Thanks for the great. Okay. I think that we should run a couple of tool changes. First, make sure that it will change tools correctly to each of the tools that are used in the file before running the actual file. Never like manually changing lines of code this way, and want to be sure that the fundamentals still work before jumping to a file. If it successfully changes tools to each of the ones that are used in the file, let's go ahead and give the file a run. But our Z offset is no longer at 0, which I believe should make sense because we now have a different tool in the spindle. We had 9. We C3'd on 9. We went to 5. We went to 1. So I would think that we're supposed to have something here. The video you're going to see next is the proof of that work to tech support. Okay, we had tool 9 in there. I went down and picked up tool 5. No problem. No problem with these tool changes. No problem at all with these tool changes. I have no reason, of course, to believe that the settings file has changed at all. But I guess I'll look. It has changed. Wait a minute. Yes. That was 0 before I put 9 away, and between picking up 5, then picking up 1 and having 1, it's changed to that. Okay, so what I know is the Z offset changes when you do a tool change. It does not change when you do a C2. I snapshot of the tool variables, did a tool change, the Z changes, the Z offset changes. Do a C2, the Z offset does not change. So that is being set when you're doing a tool change. Let's see what tech support comes back with. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Tech support has come back and said, thanks, that actually looks good. It is registering the same offset as the pressure plate. Right. Yes. So it is setting according to the table base. Okay, so we had a 1.34 value on the Z offset. Our pressure plate, which is the Z0 plate that's on the ATC bar, when you zero your ATC, your automatic tool changer, there's a pressure plate down. That was negative 2.102, I think. That's not changed. The Z offset was negative 1.34. But now, after I've changed bits and done a C2, Z offset and ATC pressure plate, they're now the same. They weren't initially. That difference is about 7 inch. I think that would cause me to go up too high and bottom out. So let's set up and run the file next to see if we still top out. Okay, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to fire up that underliner file because it's not changed. That's what I had sent to tech support originally. This was last week. So all we're going to do is run this. So I have bit 1 in the tool, so it should run the score veneer first, and then it should go down and pick up tool 5. Let's start this. Dust collection is on. Actually, I'm going to go over and turn it off. We're going to turn the spindle on. Spindle is on. Let's switch to the GoPro. So this is where we were last week. I'm going to do this twice. It should go down and pick up bit 5, and we're going to see what the story is. Let's go pick up bit 5 now. Bit 1 away. Please. What are we waiting for? Yeah, through an error. Yeah, through that error. Okay. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.